Welcome to Plus Size Stories episode 9. Today we talk with Jamie, a man from Florida who has lost a tremendous amount of weight. And he goes into his whole weight gain and weight loss journey. And I think you'll find it fascinating. So, let's welcome Jamie. And welcome once again to Plus Size Stories. This week we talk with Jamie about his weight loss journey and the trials and tribulations, if there are any, that we may have run into. So Jamie, thank you so much for joining me. How are things with you today?
They're going pretty well, thank you.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and just jump into it? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in South Florida. I wasn't born here, but I lived here my whole life in South Florida. I grew up, as an active kid. I was active. I played sports. I played soccer. I played baseball. As a young kid, I raced BMX bikes. I was, active kid. Good. I had an older brother. I had good normal childhood. Got into high school, played high school sports. Got heavier as I got older. Into my middle school, I was a little bit heavier. High school, I was heavier, but still active. So then you start wrestling and playing football. And I was tall, so can play an offensive line in football. And I was heavy, but active, so make that work for you. So I was a pretty good athlete. Played varsity football, varsity wrestling, but continued to get heavier and heavier as I got older into high school. By the time I was 17 years old when I graduated high school, I was working. I was a cook in restaurants. I developed a passion for cooking at that time. So I was, working as a cook in the restaurants. When I wasn't playing after football had ended, I was working on the weekends and stuff. And by the time I graduated high school, I was just about 300 pounds. And, still active, whatever, doing this stuff. Worked a little bit after high school and decided to go to college. I went to culinary school.
Okay.
Still, when I went to culinary school, I just turned 18, and I went to culinary school for a couple of years, and I was about 330 pounds when I graduated culinary school.
Okay.
And so, it's just still a big guy, but still active. When I was upstate New York, I was, had lots of, friends up there. So I went skiing when I was, 330 pounds. I was an active guy,
Yeah.
So, that time comes, and I graduated in 1997. So I'm 330 pounds. I graduated culinary school. Then I come back to South Florida. I start to work in the industry, and working 50, 60 hours a week,
Right.
For the next 5 years come by. And I basically, as working person, I'm hanging out, going out, meet people, friends and stuff. And I'm continuing, I live, I eat healthy, I eat moderately healthy at the time. And I'm always trying to lose weight and stay healthy, but never really be able to maintain, a weight. I'm always getting bigger, but not at a rapid rate. Seems to always be, gaining weight. So time goes by. I think at some point down the road, then I got married. I first got married. I think it was 2001, around 2000, I think. And I was, in my, I don't even know how old I was then. I'm 47 now, so whatever that, but I was probably by that time I was probably in the 400s.
Okay.
And I was working as a chef in the 400s, working 70, 80 hours a week. but not spending, still living an active life, not spending all time eating and stuff, and never eating more calories than I should have been able to. I should have been able to at least maintain, a high weight versus continuing to gain weight over time, and never realizing that it was really, there was definitely, an insulin resistance type, issue going on, and insulin resistance, wasn't, much, talked about like it is now. Whereas like no matter what you did, like I could never consistently lose weight. I was always, gaining weight. So I was married for about 9 years. I got divorced. And after that happened, that was the first time that I actually really, really was able to lose a significant amount of weight. I think I went from about 520. My highest was at that time my highest was about 520 pounds.
Okay.
And I got down to around 415 or so. And that was just as much, not even much exercise, just counting calories. I was counting 1,500 calories a day. But I had a really good routine at the time. It was just super, super structured.
Yep.
And my job was really good. I was working a lot, but the stress wasn't there. I didn't have that stress level. The
Right.
job was it was one of my least stressful jobs at the time. And it enabled me to lose a decent amount of weight. And I didn't really maintain it for very long. And it was just, it's always for my whole life, my whole adult life, from the time that I basically was 330 pounds to get to 500 something pounds, took, probably 15 years
Right.
to get to that point. But it's just been a gradual uphill. And I've lost 50 pounds at a time here. And then, 50 pounds there. But then always, you lose 50 pounds, you gain 70 pounds,
Right.
type thing. You understand how that goes.
Absolutely.
And just only able to really lose that 50 pounds and just never been able to get past that point of like, you have that success and then you have that stall and you just can't get past that.
Right.
And that's always been my issue. So, fast forward to my current situation. I'm married to my current wife for now 11 years. I got now to fast forward, go back now. Now my heaviest that I got to was 715 pounds. Now I got to that 16 months ago. And once again, I got from say 500 plus pounds to 700 pounds. 500, let's say 500 to 650, working 70, 80 hours a week.
Right.
Whereas physically just all the time working lots of hours, but then the stress, my wife had triplets. I was eating, I was probably eating a lot of calories, but I couldn't have been eating. I wasn't eating enough calories to gain that kind of weight over that amount of time. Let's say over 3-year time to go from 500 pounds to 650 pounds. So just once again, just something not right. And then finally at 750 pounds, I'm like, this has got to be it. I have to figure this out. So I said, finally, I had done keto so many times, and I know that keto was something, giving up to sugar and carbohydrates was something that I knew always I had the best results with, but for some reason I couldn't stick with it. And a guy that I know that lost almost 300 pounds when he stopped eating sugar and carbohydrates, he always told me that it was the fake sugar that was my issue, but he would never push me on it. But he always told me, he said, if you stop eating the fake sugar, that's what's going to be the key for you. So this last time, 16 months ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to stop eating the fake sugar, and I'm going to stop eating, even if it says no sugar.
Mm-hmm.
If there's sugar or a dextrin or dextrose or anything in it that's related to sugar on the ingredient label, whether it says 0 grams of sugar in it or not, I'm not eating it.
Okay.
So I changed that. So the first month I did that, I lost 20. No, I lost, yeah, like 28 or 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, then I started to hear about this Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Right.
So then I started doing research, and I'm like, is anybody doing low carb or no carb on this Ozempic or Mounjaro? And I'm like, I can't find anything. So I'm like, is this a good idea or is this a bad idea? I'm like, I don't know. So I asked my doctor, can I go on this Mounjaro? I'm like, I hear people losing weight, all this stuff. And my doctor, I have a great doctor. She goes, Jamie, I'll prescribe it for you. She says, I don't care what you do, Jamie, as long as you stick with it.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So then I go on this Mounjaro. I start this Mounjaro, and the first month I'm on the Mounjaro. After I lost that first, I think it was 34 pounds, I lose 18 pounds. Okay. So now, like, I'm down 34, 44, I think it was 50, I think it's about 48 or 52 pounds in those first 2 months. Okay. So now, but I've been here before,
Right.
I've been here before. So, so now I've taken this medication, but now it's different. Something's different.
Okay.
I stopped eating the fake sugar, and now not eating the fake sugar, between not eating the fake sugar and having the GLP medication, I now no longer crave any of the carbohydrates or any of the sugar. So I feel like more in control of the process than I ever had before.
Right.
So it's like, I know that, like, some people can lose weight certain different ways, and some people can. And I know that I was addicted to sugar and carbohydrates, and my mind could not get past that with the sugar and carbohydrates. It caused me to want more sugar and carbohydrates. So, that's one thing that I realized, that, you have to know, what you need to do to be successful. And I really figured that out this time. So then I got nervous. So then I found out that after getting the first month of medicine, that it wasn't covered by my insurance.
Right.
So then I'm like, oh no. So then I find out, okay, well, there's this Ozempic.
Mm-hmm. So
now I'm like, okay, well, I can take this Ozempic. It's covered by my insurance. So then I start looking up, well, how's this Ozempic work with this low carb? Well, turns out Ozempic was a little bit older, so there's a little bit more people. So I found out, it turns out that, like, people are getting good results being on Ozempic with a lower carb, diet. I'm finding a little bit of people doing. So I'm like, okay, I'm not, like, more excited.
Right.
So that now this third month I'm on, I did Mounjaro I did keto for 1 month. Now I'm doing keto with Mounjaro, and now I'm keto with Ozempic. So that third month I lose 24 pounds. I'm like, so now in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not craving anything. Now I went from not craving anything. Now I'm not hungry either.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, now I'm not hungry. I'm not craving anything. And now all of a sudden, my big keto portions are starting to shrink.
Right, because you're just not hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not hungry, and now I'm listening to my body and stuff. So now this is like a whole new world. So now I'm eating smaller portions now. So it's like, I'm like, this is must be like regular people feel like.
Right. Right.
So then I spent the better part of the next year on Ozempic, and I think the whole that first year, that next year, I think I lost 180 pounds.
Okay.
In that first year.
Yeah.
I had set a goal. I was hoping to lose 200 pounds in the first year, and it really started to slow up at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference this time was, like, I wasn't discouraged.
Right. Right.
I really feel like for me, the medication really helped me stay in control.
Yep.
And not feel like giving up. And even to this point, I'm now down 218.4 pounds.
Okay.
After 16 months. and I I had a slow time, and my doctor added in another medication. I see an obesity doctor, um, which if you have a lot of weight to lose, um, and you get a medication, and you're on a medicine for weight loss, I highly recommend finding an experienced obesity doctor
Right.
versus just getting it from an endocrinologist or a PCP, because the knowledge and what other medications they can prescribe to help you with your journey, I think it makes a huge difference. It was able to help me, um, like with the last 30 pounds, I was stalled for quite a bit, and not getting discouraged, but I was like, I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually prescribed me another medication that's used for, the topiramate, that's used for seizures and headaches and stuff. And he's like, let me try something else that they use, that that works on a different center of the brain, and see if we can, get you to start losing weight again that way.
Right.
And so I think it's been about two and three quarters months. The last 2 and 3/4 months, I lost about 30 pounds, which after 15 months is a really lot of weight to lose in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, it's a lot of weight to lose at the beginning, but when you're so far along in your journey, that's a lot of weight to lose in 2 months. So
Right.
it was very encouraging.
Right. So how long was this stall that you were at when you and the
I was
doctor
about
started?
7 weeks,
Oh, okay. All right.
7 weeks with really no major no major weight loss.
And that's enough to
Um,
be discouraging.
yeah. So one of the major things that came up during this whole journey so far is that I realized, um, through this whole journey, I was okay with being less obese. But now I want to be like a normal weight.
Right.
So I started to look into weight loss surgery,
Yep.
because I don't feel like either with the medication or any other way besides surgery that I can get to that. But I feel like in my mind and in my body and everything, that I'm mentally and physically prepared to have the weight loss surgery now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of come full circle for me. So I lost enough weight to have surgery in a safer environment in my body, and I've found a surgery that I can eat in a very similar manner to I'm used to eating for the last year and a half now, and a surgery that's going to help me, that many people that I've talked to have lost the amount of weight that I need to still lose
Right.
to get to a weight that I want to be at in the next 12 to 15 months.
Right.
I can lose more weight now than I've lost in the last 16 months in the next 12 to 15 months, and get to a weight that I haven't imagined ever being at.
Hmm. And that, so only because I know that you sent some information ahead of time. So is that the was it 230?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and how tall are you? Because I don't.
6'2".
6'2". All right. So you're a tall guy. I mean,
Yeah.
And so, the weight. So if you don't mind my asking, what is the weight loss surgery that you're
The
looking into?
duodenal switch.
Okay. All right.
So for the people listening and not familiar, it's a combination of a malabsorption surgery and a restriction surgery. So basically, it's a pouch that's a tiny bit bigger than a sleeve, a sleeve gastrectomy, and then they reroute your intestines. That causes it changes the way your food is digested. So uh, basically, you don't absorb as many nutrients from the food. It's one of the most aggressive it is the most aggressive weight loss surgeries that you can have. It goes the sleeve, then bypass, and then this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually reserved for very morbidly obese people, but it really fits how I want to eat, how I want to live the rest of my life. So
Right. So, when you so when do you have this scheduled yet, or are you just in the beginning talks of it, or what's going on with
I've
it?
done all of the I've done all of the pre-medical work. I've done all the testing.
Hmm.
Um, in how many days? In 8 days, I have an appointment with the nurse practitioner who's going to review my chart with me and go over all of my stuff with me. And after that, it'll be sent to insurance to make sure everything is in line for them. And then my surgery will be scheduled.
Oh, great. Well,
So yeah,
congratulations on that. That'll
thank
be.
you.
I'll really be looking forward to seeing how that all works out for you. Um, so let's see. I know that you've. How long have you been on TikTok now?
I've been on TikTok for, well, I started this probably about a year and a half.
And if I'm recalling properly, you've got a pretty decent following.
Yeah, about 13,000 people.
Yeah. And any and I'm setting you up for this. You probably know where I'm going for it. But any notable, because you go live a lot, but any
Yeah.
notable lives that you might want to let people know about?
Um, hmm.
Like with visitors, perhaps?
Oh, visitors to my live.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had like celebrities maybe. I had Rosie O'Donnell visit my live and talk about.
That's the one I was referring to.
Yeah, I had Rosie O'Donnell pop into my live. She's popped in multiple times, but she joined my live. She actually joined my live twice, but one time when she was in for like an hour.
Yeah.
Um, and it was interesting because she's a very polarizing type person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it was interesting because there were some people actually commented to me afterwards like, I don't like her at all, but it was nice to hear her spin on the obesity and all everything that goes along with it. And it was interesting to hear her take on, what, rich or poor, no matter what, people still, still the same struggle with obesity and the weight, and the struggle is the same.
Yeah.
um and that's talking from somebody who has a personal chef, you know and can afford to do whatever she wants, and it doesn't make it any easier. And
Well,
it was really interesting.
it just magnifies the fact that so much of this is mental. It's a mental struggle more than anything else, frankly. Yeah, there's food issues. There's how you lose the weight, the mechanics of all that. But frankly, the mechanics are the easy part. It's the head gets in the way. If we
Yeah,
could just go, okay, I need to lose this amount of weight, so I'm going to turn off my brain for the amount of time it takes to lose that weight.
but it's the biology as well, with the biology that affects the brain as well.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And are you still currently taking Ozempic?
I'm taking Manjaro and
Monjaro.
Topiramate.
Okay. Yeah, I for some reason I'd flip those. And the plan is to take that all the way up to the surgery time.
Correct.
Okay. And with your appointment that's coming up, do you anticipate that they'll have any more restrictions that they'll place on you in terms of like you need to lose X amount of weight before you go there?
I don't believe so.
Do you need to grab that?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Not a problem. Real life is real life.
Yeah, no, there's Alexa alarm going off for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think the current weight wasn't even discussed
Okay.
in my original operation. The surgeon, I'm actually going a little bit out of town for my surgery based on the surgeon's history with with the surgery that I'm having.
Sure.
It's done laparoscopically, but it's also done robotically.
Okay.
So the robotically part also lessens the recovery time
Sure.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and he has, that's all he does. So there are a lot of bariatric surgeons that do other kinds of surgery. All he does is bariatric surgery. Um, One thing I found while researching the bariatric surgery is that a lot of surgeons only, if you go to them, if they do sleeves, only do sleeve surgeries, then they're not going to recommend other surgeries to you,
Right.
and you might not even know. Like, if you don't do enough research, you won't even know what's out there. Um,
I
and
imagine
I
this is
think
where the obesity doctor comes in handy, right?
a little bit,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
a little bit, yes, and also just doing enough research to know,
Sure.
um,
Sure.
and finding somebody who who does. I wanted somebody who does, not just like I asked, like, I know this guy does a million sleeves. But I'm like, I don't want somebody who's gonna do the surgery, but I want somebody who's done 500 of them, or 1,000 of them, or 5,000, whatever that number is.
Right.
Um, so that was important to me. But even then, like, they have a bariatric dietitian, and I made a secondary appointment with my obesity doctor's bariatric dietitian, because I wanted to kind of like to get some information from a different source that wasn't, because I know that, like, I was questioning certain things of the dietitian, but I know that in her mind, she's like, well, this is just another bariatric patient that you know doesn't want to do what they're saying. But I'm like, I wasn't coming at it from that way. I've changed a million things about how I eat,
Sure.
and there's certain things that I don't want to eat for certain reasons, and I wanted to just get it verified that this is something that's not going to hinder my weight loss, or going to be something that's going to be not going to be good for me moving forward.
Right.
So I met with another bariatric dietitian to make sure that she also agreed that this would be good for me, or I could do it this way, and it would make sense.
Right.
That was really, really great for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to feel confident going in, especially if they're answering all your questions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we see that too often, and I'm not even talking about weight loss surgery. I'm just talking about generally. We see that too often where people go and they talk to the doctors, and the doctors really aren't prepared to answer their questions, and you leave the doctor going, "I still don't know anything." so, so no, that you must feel way better about the whole interaction.
Yeah, it's good, and I really feel comfortable. And it's like, the surgery is a giant thing, but I'm like, obviously it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but it's like there were so many reasons why in my head, like, I never wanted to have weight loss surgery before,
Yeah.
and being on this journey now, and being on the medication has, like, checked so many boxes for me of why I'm comfortable doing this now, and that I was never comfortable doing it before.
Right.
So
No, that's
it's
great.
it's really it's really great.
Yeah, and honestly, we talk about the mental aspect helping or hindering weight loss and whatnot. But honestly, even if you're in a great state frame of mind coming even out of surgery, that's going to help your recovery, right? And,
Yeah.
and be able to get back on the wagon or on the horse or whichever your preferred form of transportation is. So,
Yeah.
so all right, so let's try to flash forward a little bit into the future. Let's say it's a year to 16 months from now. You've had your weight loss surgery. You're approaching your goal of 230 pounds. Now what? What happens after that?
Well, I think my biggest thing is, depending on how much weight I can actually lose, I think I may have to have skin surgery in order to reach that goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because even having lost 218 pounds now, I have significant loose skin in certain areas.
Yeah.
Um, So the whole skin surgery thing scares me more than anything.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not like, I don't insist like that something I have to have. But I also know that like if I do all this work to get to a point where I've lost all this weight and I'm all this much smaller, like I don't want to have like a 4 inch, 4 inch or 6 inch bigger waist because I have all this skin. Like, I don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
I'll deal with it when the time comes. Uh, but I think I also feel different when I'm only moving around. I'm moving around half the weight I am now
Right.
in order to try to heal. When I'm have all these sutures and stuff like that. So I feel like it'll be different then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny cuz so I mean I've lost a significant amount of weight, not the weight that you've lost clearly, um but I'm dealing with loose skin issues now and I'm not done either. And I'm running through those same things like I'm pretty sure I could fit in a much smaller pair of pants now if I didn't
Hmm.
have the loose skin that I have now. And that's only going to increase. And so it's something that we really need to consider. Because the other thing is, we've seen it. I know you've seen the videos of some of the folks that have significant loose skin. And they basically say, hey, I'm not getting the surgery. This is my trophy.
Hmm.
And I get that. But I also get chafing.
Yeah,
Right? And so I don't want to live with chafing like that. Like,
exactly.
and so I don't know. So so that's interesting. Um so let's say though, loose skin aside, you're at a good place after all this. How does your life continue to change or adapt once you get to where whatever your goal is at that point? Because your goal may change between now and then. I mean, who knows? Um, how does your life change if any way?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I really anticipate just living a more active life. I mean,
Yep.
there's more like I have 2 young kids. I have 3 young kids, and I have 3 young kids and an older and an 18-year-old. Is like there's physically stuff that I've never been able to do with my young kids.
Yeah.
That I want that I'd love to be able to do. Um, Places I'd like to go, things I'd like to do that like just haven't been able to, and that the fact that they're still young enough, for me to, enjoy. Like, what, this time next year, I could probably be. What's that? What's that? What did you say? Sorry. You know, there's potential that I could go ride a ride with them at Disney World or
Right.
something. It's like
Right.
um, that's something I've never been able to do.
Yeah.
Um, and they're 9 years old. They're gonna be 10 years old. It's something they'll still enjoy, and still it'll still be something. So uh, it's interesting.
And
I still.
the beauty of all that too is like if you are successful, and I have no reason to believe you won't be. I mean, you've been amazingly successful so far. Um, the kids, you've got so much life left with the kids being kids. Even if just turned 10, when you're close to your goal or whatever, that's probably going to be 11. That's a lot of childhood and time that you have to spend with them. That's amazing. That's such a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really hopeful for
Thank
you
you.
and your journey. So let's talk a little bit about you touched on the fact that you were a chef. What kind of food?
Everything I spent, I would say I spent most of a lot of my cooking career in, um, I guess most of the time in steakhouses,
Okay.
upscale steakhouses, but all different kinds of stuff. I was in hotels, fine dining, all kinds of stuff. Really different kinds of cuisines and stuff. Country clubs,
Right.
just a little bit of everything. Um,
All right. What's the best appropriate temperature for a ribeye?
If you're paying for it, whatever you want.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
I well, for a ribeye, I like medium rare,
Yeah.
but it's got to be medium rare, but it's got to be hot enough on the outside to render that fat.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. It can't be. It's got to be cooked on an outside where it's hot enough to render that fat, or it's like I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
like
So
like a tenderloin, tenderloin you just sear it and eat it. It's fine.
yeah.
But with that fat, if that fat's got to get rendered, that's why I like the sous vide a lot to cook first, because if you sous vide a ribeye like that, at 125, 100 or 130 degrees, and then just sear real good, that fat's melted down a little bit. It's beautiful.
Yeah. 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 I'm a barbecue guy, so
Yeah,
I'm not great at steaks, but I'll smoke
yeah,
all day long. So the steak thing, I'm a medium rare guy too, though.
yeah.
Which is weird because I grew up a well done guy.
Right.
Like I didn't want to see a hint of blood. It grossed me out as a kid, and then once I got older, my palate changed, and I was like, oh wait a minute, this tastes amazing.
I love brisket. I
Yeah.
love brisket, smoked brisket, and because it's so good, just salt, pepper, and smoke is all it needs.
Yep. Yep. And
It's
not
like
dry.
so good. Yes.
So, so cool. Let me ask you this: if you had, well, I'm gonna ask you two questions. One is a set of questions that I am starting to ask folks, and that is, if you had one thing that you could stop doing today to improve things for you, one thing that you could start doing today that would improve things for you, and one thing that you could continue doing today, to keep going because it's a good thing. What might those things be? And I know it's kind of a loaded question, but
Hmm. Stop doing. If I could stop weighing myself every day,
okay.
would probably be a good thing. It I've gotten to the point where it doesn't discourage me,
Yep.
but I don't think it helps me anymore. Like
Okay. All right.
it's a lot. It's like it gets obsessive.
Yeah.
Um, um, I definitely physically I can't really right now, but I'd like to exercise more and move more.
Okay.
But unfortunately, my body's kind of a little bit broken.
Yeah.
So like I physically I'm just like not able to. So I wish I could, and losing weight has helped some.
Sure.
But I think I'm ways away from physically being able to do some stuff that I want to do. But you know, that's it. And basically, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing as far as not eating the sugar, not eating sugar substitutes. I think um, if if you learn something that's really detrimental to you personally, then you need to know that's the most important thing. Like the weight loss is so important to me, but my number one thing that I'm proud of is my sobriety from my sugar and carbohydrate uh, sugar and carbohydrate addiction.
Yeah.
Because without that, there's no weight loss.
Yeah, and clearly you've been ultra consistent with that,
Yeah.
and so clearly something to be proud of. Um, so let's see. The one piece of advice you would give to somebody just starting their weight loss journey and not quite sure how to start, what would that be?
Um, treat it like a 12-step program, just one day at a time. Because if you mess up, you just the next day is a new day. Because even if you completely go off the rails, if you ate 10,000 calories today, if you tomorrow if you go right back to it, you know not so much damage has been done. But it's if you go off the rails today, and then you go and rationalize to yourself, okay, well, you know what, I weighed myself, and you know what, I only gained a half a pound today, and I ate all this terrible stuff, and then you don't correct it the next day. um, that's gonna be your problem. And then if you, on the same token, you know what, if you want something, eat it, and then you know eat you know eat it and then move on. But
Yeah.
if you, yeah, and then the next day is the next day. But if you can't, and don't beat yourself up about it. But today has to be today, and then tomorrow is a new day. You can't carry it over. You can't just let whatever happened today happen today, and you tomorrow's a new day, and that's it.
That seems to be a very recurring theme when I ask people that question. And it really does surround a lot of that was a moment, you had the moment, and then a lot of be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace. All of that, just like because we all stumble, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and how do we recover? And I don't know about you. I know that I've gone from stumble to completely off the rails
Yep.
because it ruined my week. Well, it really didn't until I ruined my week.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about, and that's
Yeah.
what today is. You that's the part you lost control for that meal or that day. But you know what? If you can't wake up that next day and go right back to it, that's where you've lost it. Because and even then you still haven't lost it, because then okay. So then you had to eat this 2 days, because the bottom line is that you didn't gain. You're not going to gain 50 pounds in 2 days. Like you're not going to gain 100 pounds. Like it's just you can stop it. You just have to just say, you know what, and it goes back to giving yourself grace. You know what, I blew it. Like whatever, but let's just don't make that excuse to just keep doing it. Like that's the biggest thing. Is like you can't just say, oh screw it, I'm just going to do this, because that's when it's all over.
Right. Right.
You can't make that excuse. Say, you know what, oh well, I give up. Because
That.
if you give up, then you just give up.
Yep. That. Oh, screw it. That's a killer. It's a
Yeah.
killer. It's funny because I saw another creator on TikTok today posted a video of what he ate before he started losing weight, typically in a day, but he actually did all the calorie calculations, and it came out to I think like 8,000 calories, but he was 400 pounds at the time, and what? No, it wasn't even 8,000. It was like 6,000. It was like 6,000, and he was like 400 pounds at the time, and it was a ridiculous amount of food, like a lot of food, and if you took into account how tall he is, how big he is, what his BMR should have been at that height and weight, he still didn't eat enough to actually gain an actual pound overnight. It just didn't. And so when people beat themselves up for what that scale shows in the morning, I had a 2 pound swing the other day. Did I eat enough food to swing 2 pounds? No, I did not. I had a 1.8 pound swing this morning. Did I eat enough food, or did I not eat enough food to make that happen? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was up 7 pounds at some point at the beginning of last week.
yeah.
And then a few days later I was at my lowest. So
Yeah. I went on a cruise earlier this year, and I said I'm
I
not
remember
gonna track, not gonna track, but I tried doing things like I walked everywhere, and I walked for at least a mile every day on purpose. But I didn't. I drank a bunch of beer, ate whatever I wanted. Got back from my cruise, gained 15 pounds in that 1 week. Do I think I ate enough to gain 15 pounds? No, that is ridiculous. And inside of a week, it was all gone. So was it worth it? Oh, yes.
Yeah, but in the past, you would have gained 15, 20, 25, and then you would have kept going
Oh
afterwards.
yeah, that would have derailed me so hard that the rest of the month, if not the whole year, would have derailed me.
Yeah,
And
that's the important part.
right, and that happened in May, and since May, I've probably lost another 80 pounds,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I don't even know, but so yeah, it just didn't matter. Didn't
Yeah.
matter.
So the whole key to it is just tomorrow, just keep going.
Yes.
Is and that's the thing is when the people talk about I'm not losing enough weight. Yeah, I only lost I'm only losing 2 pounds a week. Well, if you lose 2 pounds a week for a whole year, that's 100 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you just have to do it. You have to just stay with it,
Well, and the
and
one
that's
thing
up.
that's resonated with me a lot too is it didn't take you 3 months to gain all that weight.
Correct.
You're not going to lose it in 3 months. So um, that's very cool. I am so excited to see what next year holds for you. Um,
Get it.
do you? Because I asked this of everybody. Um, do you mind if we contact you again next season and just do, because I want to do a where are they now type of
For
situation.
sure. Of
All right,
course.
very
You're
cool.
great. I
And
appreciate it.
everybody has said yes as well, but I feel the need to ask. Just I don't want to
No, of
presume.
course. I'd
Um,
love it.
so all right, cool. Jamie, tell everybody where they can find you.
You find me most of the time at Triple Data TikTok. And yeah, the one thing you get at Triple Data TikTok is a little bit different. I'm always talking about the GLP medication, but it's not your normal TikTok. We have fun. We talk about everything. Um, it's a good time. A lot of people that know me are in there a lot, and it's fun chit chat, but a lot of good information from a lot of people that have lost a lot of weight. And you'll go in there sometime, and there'll be the combination of like 5 people,
Right.
and they'll have lost a total of 1,000 pounds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And
it's very motivating.
how many days a week are you usually on live?
It's probably 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
usually about.
Because
Um,
I see you live a lot.
yeah,
I see you up there a lot. So
yeah.
um,
It's like therapy for me. It's like really, it's good to talk about. It's like, and it took me a long time. Like took me months. It took me months before I could sit on there and say I weigh. I started at 715 pounds. That's like wasn't an easy thing to do.
yeah.
Um, and then I showed pictures of what I looked like at 715 pounds. But then now I can show how much different I look. 218 pounds lighter. So it's great, and it's definitely. I appreciate the fact that how many people say how motivating it is to them, and I appreciate that like if I can do it, they can do it kind of thought, which is great, and I have lost a lot of weight, but there's so many people out there that have actually lost a higher percentage of weight than I have, and I've lost a high percentage of weight.
Yeah.
And there's some great people, like I said, but still, when you're talking about pounds of weight, like I said, you can go into my TikTok live, and depending on who's in there, there could be 5 of us in there, and the total weight loss will be over 1,000 pounds, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's stunning.
that I easily know 5 people in one given chat that have lost 1,000 pounds total, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't
It's very
actually
motivating.
added up everybody that I've interviewed so far and how much weight they've lost collectively. That would be an interesting stat. Because it's
Yeah.
got to be. I mean, I'll have done 10 episodes in season 1. It's got to be easily over 1,000 pounds, easily. So, all right. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know that we were having some scheduling things here and there, but that's just the nature of the beast, right? So,
Appreciate it. I appreciate you.
thank you so much. And yeah, please go and follow Jamie, and we will see you next week for the season finale. Have a good one.
Thank you. See you soon.